All right, looks like we are back from break. We were looking to have WarreN against Zan.
Yep, and we got everybody.
Are we gonna have WarreN and Zan here? Oh.
Yep.
Oh, nice. Cool. So we are doing vetoes for them. We're flipping coins first.
GM
flipping coins
ZVT,
to
Kevin.
ZVT.
The most exciting matchup, I think,
most exciting
in the game.
And yeah, no, it'll be fun. It'll. Do you
Do I what? Use your words.
Do you think you'll need to stay and do admin stuff, or are people settled in?
I think that it would. I can sit one out because this should be our last busy round anyway, and it's TVZ. And
Sure.
while I get really excited because I'm like, burrow the banelings.
There might not be.
I
borrowed
just
banning,
think
so.
all the mechanics of both teams are great.
Yeah, certainly. And I've never
It's a really fun matchup.
Yeah, I haven't seen WarreN play. I do watch Zan stream a bit, and we can talk about that just a bit with our player info. WarreN, he is a Grandmaster Zerg from Missouri, so
Yeah,
Jackson
he
is
is.
yeah. You can follow him if you like his play. You can follow him at WarreN SC2. And he recently knocked Desro out of the WCS qualifier. I think there was a little bit of hubbub on the various social media about that, but
Yeah.
mostly Desro trying to beat his player with any tactic necessary, including BM.
That was interesting.
And then he also got to top 48 at MLG Anaheim 2014, which is pretty solid achievement. I mean, I got knocked out by a Korean in MLG Anaheim. Yeah, that's my claim to fame.
Nice.
I got knocked out by Apocalypse in the the first round, but it's okay. Zan, on the other hand, a GM Terran from Minnesota, and you can, if you enjoy his play, you could probably follow him at ZanMN on Twitter or watch him at twitch.tv/ByzantiumSC, just SC, yeah, no SC2. And he actually got second place at the first Midwest Cup. He hasn't shown up, or he hasn't been around for a couple of the other Midwest Cups, but he's back. We'll see what he can bring. He lost to Honey Bear the first time through. Oh man, I'm dropping frames. The lag. Well, we'll see. We'll see what
Is this
happens.
our first time with Vani?
Yeah, I think so. So
I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right.
Vani. I think it's just Vani Research Station.
Instead of Vaughn, I guess that makes sense. Huh.
I'm gonna go with Vani.
Okay. It should have had a little apostrophe. So it's Vani.
I don't know what I mean. Okay, so what do we got? We got Vani Research Station. We have Expedition Lost. Next. Oh, I missed it. Where is it? Where is it? Inferno Springs. Oh, we got the new maps.
Yeah,
Ooh,
all the new maps,
fun
which is
stuff.
curious enough because
All
I
day.
think pretty much all the new maps. I think research stations okay for Zerg. I think every other map is horrible for Zerg.
Well, which one did our boy WarreN pick? Research Station, Vani, and he picked Expedition Lost. I'm okay with Vani for Zerg. Yeah. And then Expedition Lost. Or wait, no. He picked Inferno Station, did WarreN, I think. And Inferno Station's not a terrible Zerg game either. Okay. Getting some trash talk between these players, but it's okay. It's always good. I'm lobby host. Good luck, have fun. It looks like we've got a ready out of both players.
Yeah, that's right. Go
Very
ahead and get
cool.
in game.
This should be exciting. I mean, I'm pumped personally.
Yeah, I think it's really gonna be a fun game. It's so I was talking about the map earlier, and then we unfortunately didn't see the map. But it's interesting that it's not a mirror map. It's it's equal up and down, and that being said, it is kind of nice third base for the Zerg and really the Terran, because we were talking about the other bases having kind of weird third bases. Sorry, other maps.
Yeah.
They're hard to defend, but they're also hard to attack into. This one is a bit more comfortable. It's kind of close. It's a big space to defend, but not as awkward as the other ones.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, another part of it too is just this map is just so big. Like the defender's advantage is, I mean, really apparent, especially in a TVZ where you don't have that warp gate shenanigans. You know, where who cares about defender's advantage, right? No. Yeah, let me update winners bracket round 3. I think it's round 3. Anyway, we'll call it round 3 for now. Spawning down at the bottom side of our map. He's from Missouri. He's a GM Zerg. He's wearing blue right now. He is WarreN. And I guess he's from... Oh, shoot. That's not Millennium, is it? It's... I need to look it up. His team. I forget.
It's not Millennium. I'm not sure. But anyway, that means that in the top of this map... Sorry, did I interrupt you?
No, that was me. I was just gonna ask whose team you were wondering about.
WarreN's.
Oh, WarreN's. I'll check. You introduce. Sorry,
Okay.
Jackson. Take
No,
it
it's
away.
okay. In the top right, I know this team. It's Team Ascension. The player for said Team Ascension Pro, as it were, is the Red Terran. His name is Zon. I didn't get loud. I didn't get higher that time.
Zan. Let me do my scales in the bathroom before I... Oh boy. Yeah, I forget. For some reason, I always thought IMI was Millennium. I don't know why. I know they usually had a different tag, but then I don't know.
I remember the
struggle.
old Millennium tag before we had clan tags, and it was like M and what appeared to be an Orthodox Catholic sign.
Yeah, it was.
You know, the kind of cross with an extra line in it.
Yeah, but I haven't seen the Millennium clan tag in like a long time, so
I have not either. Let's see if we can find anything.
I think Sam's gonna give us a scouting report on what IMI is.
We need our man down on the floor reporting to us.
The field reporter. I guess we could talk about the game while we wait, though. So that's what we're supposed to do, right?
I guess so.
I mean, sometimes we could talk about Battletoads, right? Anyway, we've got a hatch first, and then a spawning pool followed up by a gas from WarreN. Nothing too fancy. Similarly with Zan, Reaper first, so not super greedy. You know, sometimes you might expect, oh, he's gonna go CC first because he's got the in-base expansion, but not yet. Although I can definitely assume that with a Reaper opening, I mean, I'm thinking a CC pretty shortly after is, yeah, okay, we've got the 400 minerals. The command center is definitely going down.
Jumping right back in and cutting Kevin off. WarreN is currently teamless.
Okay.
His big achievements, as you said, just made it to top 48
Well, what is
in MLG Anaheim, and he actually just knocked out Desro, the popular
those
streamer
are all
and
the things I've already said, Sam.
Well, I missed that part then.
I just wanted you to right-click on his name in Battle.net and go to View Profile.
Kevin, most people don't know this, but it is actually impossible to get anywhere in Battle.net 2.0.
That's true. My favorite is the people will be like in a chat group, right? So like the Midwest Cup chat group. And if they're offline, it's like, this player does not have a profile on StarCraft 2. And I'm like, whatever you say, sir. I don't know. There's a couple people in chat cheering for IMI, though. So I want to know what team this is so I can properly represent.
I was trying really hard not to laugh through all of that, and completely missed pointing out the fact that 3 of the Zerglings have gone down.
Yeah,
and
a
there
lot
actually are 2 Reapers here, which can really kind of pull out the damage. WarreN does know the Reaper count, though, and he seems rather comfortable. He's about to have a second Queen at his main base, so he's going to push it off. I don't believe any drones did go down, so it's not the biggest investiture, but the True Reapers is interesting. I see it. I don't see it rarely, but it's not the most often. choice, it really can become kind of hard to deal with, but at the same time, when it becomes easily dealt with, it's just kind of an extra investment that wasn't really necessary.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll see here in just a couple of, just about a minute or less, if Zan's going for some sort of Hellbat shenanigans. That's what I usually see, you know, multiple Reapers. There's an okay chance that, especially with this Banshee, you know, our eyes in the sky see a Banshee as well, and you say, okay, is he gonna, not really all in, but do a really big push with Hellbats, or, I mean, just a Banshee with, you know, 6 Hellions and a couple of Reapers is also pretty standard, just to deny that third base, so...
Sure. And WarreN is trying. He does see the enemy force from Zan. He's trying to figure out his way around it, maybe slow it down a little bit. He's a bit away from his Baneling nest, which means he's even more a bit away from Banelings. Don't believe we have an armory, though, so it could be...
I think it's already past that time of... Of a real quick Hellbat shenanigans. As we say it, the armory comes down. All right.
I mean, that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
They're built pretty rapidly. You know, it only takes about 30 seconds from this point, and then they morph instantly. So he still could easily have Hellbats in this composition. 4 Banelings is a good amount to deal with it, but the biggest problem is the Banshee. Banshees are kind of notorious for sniping Banelings out of the way.
Yeah, and it's hard to say. I mean, decent spore coverage. I like that part of this defense out of WarreN, but if there's some okay Hellbat splitting, I mean, he might not even be able to morph to Hellbats. He doesn't seem comfortable with it right now.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit too worried about getting surrounded by this Lynx. He saw quite a few of them, and although the damage of Hellbats is pretty undeniable, a nice surround and some Baneling hits really taken out. While I say that, though, a huge Ling Brumby is going from WarreN into Zan's base, and wow, at the kind of last second, Zan threw down a barracks to block the ramp. That does mean that a lot of the forces are out of position for WarreN, but a ton of Queens are here in defense. None for injects, though, I believe.
Might have a little bit of a bust onto Zan's main right here. Although he does spot it. He sees the Banelings coming down, so he should have an easy hold here.
Yeah, Zan might lose a little bit, but there shouldn't be too much economic damage. In fact, the wall doesn't even go down. Very, very nice hold from Zan. He's scouted it very well.
Yeah, you would almost say 0 damage. He has to repair a bit, but that's, I mean, that's his best case scenario, I think, just about.
I think he might have lost a single low health Hellion. That was a really, really nice hold. Really, really on top of his scouting, and now just being really annoying with this Banshee. Almost gets a Queen. Nice transfuse, though. So many Queens at the moment. But all of them with relatively high energy, actually. Missing a few injects because of how annoying Zan is being with his... I don't want to say aggression, but just kind of fearful movements.
Sure. So we will see if... Looks like Muta's... we'll see what they can do. I mean, Zan is kind of transitioning back into... transitioning to staying with Bio. I mean, he had a much more factory-based army at the beginning, but he's able to retain that and then also transition to a Bio force to hold off these Mutas at home, although it will make the Hellions have to go back, so no more harassment out of those is really possible at WarreN's base, so it's good for him. But
I want to take a real quick moment. I believe that he is playing for Team Immortals.
I believe so. A couple of people in chat are
yes,
all about that.
But there isn't the highest of Muta count at the moment. There's only 6 or 7 compared to actually not that many Marines either. But Marines, as most Zergs know, are very, very scary.
And even, I mean, a couple of Widow Mines really zone things out very well too.
Baneling speed has been upgraded, which is going to give him a nice advantage. Pretty decent crease spread at the moment. Give him a good amount of time to get on top of this force, especially if he can kind of keep Zan from cleaning up too well. That being said, he's still missing a lot of the Zerglings that he needs to be in this fight. They're still morphing. Kind of decent Baneling hits on the left side, and really, really nice ones coming in from the right. And he's going to be able to clean this up relatively easily. Little mines are going to be kind of annoying, but they should be cleaned up in a moment's time.
Yeah, WarreN managed to hold that down pretty well, and he's actually had, although he did lose a lot, we're losing a lot of workers on both sides of these engagements, particularly because of this drop down here in the natural base of Zan, or by Zan rather, into WarreN's matchup. Words are hard, man. I forgot that it's a ZVT. It's going to become Drop City pretty quick, and this is going to be impossible.
And actually, because of how, again, I don't want to say aggressive, but just how annoying Zan has been, he actually has a decent worker lead. He was at about 8, now he's at 5. Plus the mules, he's got a pretty substantial mine or mineral intake upgrade. He's on 3 bases, so he's got his 6 gases, and he's he hasn't been too intensively strong in the engagements except for that one kind of pseudo-bust defense, but I mean he's been keeping himself really at a kind of a steady lead, not this insane game-ending thing, but he kind of is able to keep up with what's going on. Several Marines going out to scout out, see what they can find, make sure that Mutalisks don't automatically jump onto his natural base.
Sure. And I mean, WarreN's definitely not out of this yet. I think he'll be able to hold on to this gold base, which is finally just scanned down by Zan. So he knows it there, but Zan's also pretty comfortably on 3 bases of his own. As the whiny Zerg player that I am, I like to say that Terran on 3 bases you pretty much can't beat. But
yeah, well they're really able. Let me check the structures really quick. He's on 8 racks. He's able to just kind of drop, and then still have a really decent force knocking on bases. He's looking to go for that gold base, as you mentioned just a moment ago, and I believe that the Mutalisks are actually pretty out of position. They will be able to ward this drop off, but they are pretty far away from this attacking force, though that is a lot of Banelings.
Oh, decent little pullback by Zan.
Very nice micro, nice Widow Mine hits. That's a lot of the force for WarreN here. He's going to have to pull his workers and his Mutalisks back, but at the same time, they're trying to chase down this drop at his 3rd base, which will be cleaned up very easily.
Sure, but I mean, all the same, he loses his 4th on that gold, and that's an important part of his economy.
Yeah, absolutely. Zan keeping up on the gas here is really, really a big point. Actually, he only has 5 gases. I'm not sure if that's a bit of a misstep on his 3rd base, but at the same time, he's going for a 4th base, which will be scouted out by WarreN here pretty easily. But I'm not too terribly certain what WarreN can do about it at this moment. He's scouting out with some Lings right here and going for his left base, which I prefer a lot more. Obviously it's blue. It's not gold, but it's pretty easy to defend. It also makes this whole left causeway a lot easier to defend in general.
Sure. But all the while, I mean, WarreN, I assume he'll be starting his hive up pretty quickly, but the upgrade war is going to be switching into Zan's pretty strong favor with a +3 coming up in, I don't know, what is it, 80 seconds or so? Oh man, upgrades take forever. But well, in a couple of minutes here.
3-3 is a big timing for Terran. Like
Sure.
you mentioned, Zerg needs its hive. It's a bit harder. It just takes more time, more gas. And I think I was mentioning earlier, +3 for Marines is really kind of a strong... That's weird. I'm lagging a little bit, and the timing of +3 is switching around on me a lot. I'm not actually sure how much longer is left. The amount of damage output from +3 Marines is pretty impressive. Pretty good pre-splits, and the Banelings look like they're hitting Marauders. Again, I'm lagging really badly.
Would it be okay to ask you to drop or no?
Sure.
Okay.
Give me 10 seconds. and I got it. I think. Trying to. I think I got it.
So I'll go and solo cast, I guess.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Okay, so we've got Swarm Host coming out of WarreN as a response to losing a couple of his bases again. Swarm Host usually kind of the desperation move. I mean, not necessarily desperation move, but it's more of, okay, I need to be cost efficient now. I don't have this economy advantage, certainly, and he also certainly does not have an advantage with the bank, with Zan banking about nearly 2,000 of both resources, whereas WarreN's just bone dry, and WarreN down with a 50 supply deficit. Zan moving in onto the fourth base of WarreN, still not being able to get that completed. Decent Baneling hits onto the army of Zan, but once those Banelings are cleaned up and the Marines and Marauders are still left over, the fight is going to definitely move into the advantage of Zan. The Swarm Host, with the continued Locust production, they might be able to kind of just stem this off a little bit, but Zan has got to be just okay with saying, okay, you know, I've killed off a fourth base a good number of times. I have a fourth base of my own. My income is ridiculous. My bank is amazing. What else can I do to just keep myself even more ahead in this game? Starting to add in a couple of Thors to the army to make sure that those mutas don't have as good of a time trying to engage in these fights. But we will see. Again, it kind of comes down to the Swarm Hosts. They're good. They're definitely good for, you know, holding things off, for getting WarreN back into this game. But if he keeps losing his fourth bases like this, it's just, I don't know if he can really do it. It's going to be tough, and Zan's going to keep on dancing around the Swarm Host, just choosing never to engage with them. And yeah, he won't be able to go in and, you know, go straight for the kill, but he's getting high-sec auto-tracking and Neo-Steel frames. You know that a Terran's in a pretty good spot when he's grabbing those upgrades. And little engagement onto the Locust here, but it looks like they clean them up pretty quickly, and the Swarm Hosts are on cooldown for those Locusts, so this army might be able to get on top of them, clean up a good amount of Swarm Hosts. The Baneling hits, will they be enough? Not quite. They don't hit on top of the Marines like they want to. And the next wave of Locusts is coming out. Will it clean up this army? This army is very heavily stimmed right now. All very low units with the infantry. The Thors, a little bit of magic boxing out of the mutas. The Thors not being able to be effective here. And it looks like WarreN actually, I mean, the army supply is still enormous for Zan, but he cleans up this one attack onto his third base. He does, however, lose a pretty ridiculous amount of his Swarm Hosts. I think he has lost almost all of them. He's lost 10 so far. And in a game where Zerg has Swarm Hosts and is still a lot of imba coming out of WarreN there. And the units lost panel kind of tells the story. When you've got Swarm Hosts, you've lost more units than, well, more resources than your opponent. It's not going to be a great time. So looks like, I don't know, what am I doing? What are we doing with our lives right here? All right, let's go back to this. So Zan taking the first game here. Overall, I think he kind of commanded that that game a little bit. He made sure that, you know what, I'm going to oh shoot. But yeah, I mean, Zan, it was kind of a steamroll. Not really steamroll. That makes it sound like he won ridiculously easily. But it definitely was a game of small gains that, you know, created a very big advantage for him. And I think WarreN, just to some extent, he kind of, maybe not let him do it, but he let him do it, kind of. He didn't go for any sort of roaches, which, I mean, I understand. I try not to go for roaches against Terrans because in my mind, roaches are one of the worst things possible to make. However, he just wasn't able to, you know, he lost a number of drones. Yeah. I think...
So,
what's up?
I'm going to guess that the game is over then?
Yes.
Well, I just want to mention that A really or like the kind of epitome of TVZ is not these huge engagements where you just like blow up all the banelings and then your Thors just like wreck all the Mutalists. It's just kind of these small things where you take a good engagement, maybe lose some things, but you take out the fourth, or you've kind of delayed their third a little bit and you just kind of like do the snowballing effect for like 20 minutes to the point that the Zerg really can't be comfortably on their 3, 4, 5 bases, whatever the the kind of the pace of the game is, and they can't really just like remax like on 60 extra banelings when you've killed 60 just before. And Zan was really good at just kind of taking the pace at his own, kind of keeping things kind of slow, taking good engagements here and there, pulling WarreN back and forth, and rather than just kind of doing, like I said, this one big game, just kind of slowly kind of moving his way forward.
Certainly. Yeah, so I think we might go on to the next game. It looks like the players were asking for to try and not have lag in the game. They kind of felt it a little bit.
Sure.
So you can, well, do we have Sam? Is Sam even in the chat? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you want to cast with me or no?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I'll add you.
Yeah, add me. Things are pretty quiet. We're going down to our last 4 in the losers bracket right now. Everybody's playing out their games. We're probably going to go to Zaraval. We haven't gotten to see him play yet. And then probably Yatsigo Flesh, another player we haven't gotten to see. We got to play with him a little bit last night, and he's actually pretty darn good. And then we'll have the winner of Rexov Vonlin and Hypernia Jibba de Hibbo.
Jibbo de Hibbo. Dude, I want to play. I want to cast him. He's got a fun name.
Just so you can say it.
That's all I would do the whole time. Cool. So we are getting into the game. Okay, cool. Looks like both players are ready up. It'll be me and Sam taking over this cast. We've got some beautiful colors of these players here. A light blue and a nice pink.
Oh, I love it.
It's
The
the
baby
baby
blue, baby pink.
Yep.
Gets me excited every time. I do wish that we had Honey Bear because nothing makes me more happy than calling him Honey Boo Bear.
I know. All right, cool. Well, I introduced the Zerg last time, but I'll introduce the Minnesotan this time.
Sure.
Down in the bottom left side of our map, playing for Team Ascension as the Pink Terran, he is Zan.
And spawning at the top right, our baby little boy. Spawning at the top right, I already said that, but it's our Zerg WarreN.
What team is he from, Sam?
He's from Immortals. Team Immortals.
Boom. Representing that IMI today.
That's right.
I don't know if that's how they say it, but that's how I'm saying it.
And it looks like his people came out in numbers in chat to represent him.
Yeah, I'm cool with
I
that.
just flipped over for a second there, yeah, and it looked like we had a chant going on.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm down with that.
So Kevin, I didn't get to watch the whole first game. Tell me what happened. Tell me what we think we're going to see this game.
So last game, or do you wanna give the overview, Jackson, of the start of it, or the synopsis? He might be muted.
Yeah, I was. Sorry, the overview of last game.
Sure.
Yeah.
You speak better than I do.
Yeah, I mean, it was just it started out really standard from both players. Reaper expand from Zan, 15 hatch into 14 pool from WarreN, relatively normal third base. I think it was a little bit later because of the Hellions, but I think it was still about the 6:30, 7-minute range. And then Zan got really kind of aggressive with a huge amount of Hellions. It was a bit of a later Hellbat timing, so he wasn't able to kind of transform on top of WarreN's army, so it wasn't as effective. However, when WarreN went for a counterattack, the Hellions really cleaned it up really fast. And then from that point on, they slowed it down a little bit, and Zan got third base up, kind of defended from possible Mutalists, and at the same time, WarreN was going for the fourth gold base, which Zan cleaned up really well with some nice Widowmine hits. And then from that point on, he really just was kind of picking WarreN apart, attacking the fourth base on the left side, cleaning up some creep, dropping kind of every which way, and at the same time taking really, really nice engagements. I believe WarreN did take 2 or 3 pretty strong engagements, but with all of the kind of mounting pressure, it just became a little bit too much for him to kind of keep up with on the macro scale.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, for the I'll try and sum it up in like one sentence, and it was basically that WarreN was trying to take a lot of fights with a lot of banelings, and he just wasn't able to completely clean up the army. And when you don't do that as a Zerg, unless you have a whole lot of Zerglings and mutas to back it up, once you lose all your banelings, there goes the army. And if you haven't cleaned up your opponents, then suddenly you're in a pretty bad spot. But in this game, we've got a typical
Yeah,
Reaper.
Kevin, we just missed it. We had map hack like prowess out of WarreN, knowing
We did.
exactly what the timing of that Reaper scout was to dodge it in order to delay this expansion.
Yeah.
Really cool.
It's very, very tricky play by him, and actually cancels the
This
expansion.
is the cancel. That's huge.
That is really big, actually.
And you can't repair buildings, so these Zerglings actually can cancel this add-on as well, or kill it. Looks like he's able to kill it, which means he gets at minimum a scout.
Yeah, this
If
is
not
pretty
another
nuts.
SCV kill. Yeah, this is nuts.
I mean, he's done a couple of things here. He's killed a couple of SCVs, which is crazy in a in a ZVT. You usually don't expect to do that early on. But as well as that, he's kept the Reapers at home. So while Zan did see an initial scout, onto, okay, he sees pretty standard stuff, that's fine.
Right.
He kept the Reapers back at home for a long time, and therefore, you can drone up a little bit harder as a Zerg, and you don't have to be worried about Reapers poking at you, and maybe...
Right, well, and now he doesn't even need to defend with Lings because he's got enough queens.
Certainly.
That is really cool. That puts him in a great spot. He did kill the reactor too, so it delays the reactor timing. It's not going to slow down the Hellion production here necessarily. I mean, not directly anyway, but also, canceling the command center and forcing him to build it on the high ground to build it safely. Those are huge wins. This puts him in a great position in game 2 here.
Yeah, and we're already seeing a Roach WarreN coming out of WarreN. All right.
WarreN's Roach.
Go home,
WarreN.
Dad. And we're seeing a couple of Hellions come out of Zan, and those, I assume it's a pretty, to me, well, it's not a super quick Roach WarreN, and we're not seeing any sort of fast layer
No,
behind
but
it.
they're super late
but-
Hellions.
Yeah, and so these few Roaches will, push back these Hellions, and if they actually kill them off, they might be a little dancing around, trying to avoid each other, but if these Roaches just march down to Zan's base, they're going to come up against 2 Marines, basically, and a couple of Hellions. Like, that's not...
Right, that's not great. And, on the other hand, Zan, right, has been in the dark for some time. All he's seen are 6 Lings and 2 Queens.
Certainly.
And a spawning pool, so he doesn't know there are Roaches out, and for all he knew, there could be a flood of Lings coming to his main, so he had to keep the Hellions at home.
Yeah,
and now he sees his worst nightmare.
He does. This is actually... Do we have a Baneling nest? We do not. I kind of might have expected one of those for
It's better
just
to
a
get the
full-on...
surround on the Hellions, isn't it, with the Lings?
Well, yeah, I'm just talking about, like, some sort of full-on, Zerglin
some
all-in.
full bust.
Yeah.
He might not need the help. If Zan can pull SCVs in time to repair, he can hold this for a while. The bunker very strong. The Hellions will get some shots in. And the Banshee really cool here defensively, but I think he should be able to knock this bunker down.
I don't know, man. If you don't knock it down in the first couple of volleys, it's not going to get any better for you,
Right, he does get some SCV kills.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the end, that's a pretty dismal little poke there.
Yeah, and this is what
Unfortunately, he didn't get his Lings in front, which makes sense, right? You don't want him to get roasted by the Hellions, but
Yeah, this is what I cry about as a Zerg. Oh, you just made 1 Banshee. Looks like you know.
very high risk, yeah, building something like that. I would like to see WarreN start to work on the rocks or something like that. Pose some other threat, something to keep Zan at home. But maybe he just wants them there for the counterattack, or maybe for the surround on the Hellions.
Yeah, the Zerglings, they're just, they're rip-rearing and ready to go nowhere. So
Right.
it's a little bit tough. Double armory coming out. Looks like Zan's gonna channel a Velo maybe.
It's not a bad transition for him right now.
No, and I
He knows
actually
his opponent doesn't really have the army.
certainly.
So say he cranks out 7 more roaches and then tries that same poke again. It's not going to go better the second time. After Zan's had more time to fortify, get more banshees out.
Yeah.
So it forces his opponent to tech.
And WarreN might. It's hard to say, I guess. It depends on what kind of composition Zan goes for, but WarreN might be kind of caught with his pants down against this because it's going for. He just seems to be in a weird spot. He's lost his third again, and I would have to say this map, for me, especially as a Zerg, I mean, I don't know how pro players do it, to be honest, but holding a third base on this seems very awkward. Especially in the spot that WarreN's in, where he's pretty low on queens, so the mobility is pretty tough. If he had a bit better creep spread to his third base, it could maybe have worked out better. But
yeah, and I mean, the big thing is he didn't really choose which third he was going to take yet, in that he didn't spread the creep, you know, very intentionally towards that higher third, and now he's opting to take the lower one.
Yeah.
But Zan doing a good job being annoying, denying the expansion in general. Picking off that drone, I mean, it's an 8-second victory for him.
Certainly, and then even, I mean, cleaning up roaches that are trying to, you know, take down the rocks to help him stay safe. He's gonna just barely keeps that Banshee alive. Nicely done.
And he does have a lair. So what's your transition out of this, Kevin? I mean,
I just quit. No.
He's still on 2 bases. He doesn't really have the gas to pull off mutas all that well.
I mean, he's seen these armories, so he's going for Spire. Why? I would almost say, like, whatever, let's go Swarm Hosts. Let's draw this out,
He
boys.
knows there's a Hellion count, and very likely Hellbat's following that up, so I don't think it's bad in that he really wants Muta, Baneling to be able to hold a lot of things, but as soon as a Thor or 2 comes out, right, all of a sudden he can't fight.
Sure, and I guess, I mean, some people go, okay, I'm going to open up mutas because they won't have a whole lot of anti-air right away. And really, Zan doesn't have much. He has no missile turrets, I believe. Yep, no missile turrets. Does he have an engine? He has to have an engineering bay, right? Oh my gosh, he has no engineering
WarreN's
bay.
able to pick off one of the Banshees.
So
It was
these
very annoying until it was dead.
mutas might be really effective. There's no engineering bay even down. I mean, he's gonna
Yeah, but
start making Thors,
why would you need an engineering bay if you're just gonna mech on mech on mech?
for turrets?
He does have
man.
Thors coming out.
Yeah, but magic boxing Thors is extremely effective.
Right, and they're very big and manly, but Thors are very slow.
Yeah.
How many starports does he have? I have seen players pretty well on 2 starport reactors get a Viking count out in order to defend against that sort of thing.
He's
But
got one though. So it's kind of hard to say. I know I was actually watching Zan earlier today before the tournament started, and I just watched like the end of a push of his where he had just had a ton of Thors and Hellbats, and it got knocked out by really just mass Zerglings and Roaches. Zan gone for a few, not a whole lot of tanks this time, but we'll see how it plays out for him. Still hasn't taken a third though, which is very Avilo-esque, maybe. I don't know.
I'm kind of surprised he hasn't started a 3rd command center, because even if he
Yeah.
stays on these 2 bases, having the extra energy for scans, clearing creep, you know, as he pushes out, because he's going to push out late, but he wants to clear creep right away.
Yeah.
Creep absolutely is enemy here. It's bad for Baneling surrounds. It's bad for Roaches.
And
So
just,
he has, he's denied an early 3rd by any means, right? We're at 15 minutes and we just got our 3rd and 4th for WarreN. So, it's not all that bad for him that he took such a late expo.
yeah.
Muta's finally showing themselves.
It's a certainly. It's a weird scenario because WarreN has some great map control right now, but his army is extremely, very flimsy.
Right.
It's pretty much just some mutas and hopes and dreams.
Zan could probably death push right now.
Probably, but that's a scary thing to do because he has no. he has no missile turrets. Like, does
Right.
if Zan pushes out, WarreN cleans up all of his economy. Mind you, it's okay if you don't have an economy if you're pulling all the boys and you're going straight for the kill, because that's what Zan's planning on doing right now.
Right, this is the pain train itself of all the times for the train to go by my house. This would be a great one.
Certainly. Finally, some missile turrets in Zan's base is going to keep him safe. A little run by of Zerglings. They're going to find no SCVs, so they're sad little Zerglings, and we'll see what this push does on a Zan. Oh,
yeah,
no, I'm
good
scared.
Baneling connections on those Hellbats in the front. The
Kind
Roaches
of.
should be able to poke down some of these tanks. Not really enough SCVs in position
But there's
to
just
save them, but yeah, in the end, it's just like such a strong push.
what do you back this up? Like, I would have liked the Banelings onto those SCVs. That would have been
Right.
great. But as it is, now he's just got Roaches that are gonna be distracted by the SCVs attacking.
Yeah, 9 more Roaches on the way is
Oh,
not
this
going
looks
to be
bad.
enough. He needs more Banelings.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
and just a sick push. These Thors.
this is
So
yeah,
the
I
Roaches,
guess
right? The Roaches trade okay with Hellbats. Drones do not trade okay with
no,
Hellbats.
not at all. And Roaches even they're good against Hellbats because they can kite them, but when you're stuck in a corner like this, they're not great. I mean,
Right.
And then you got Thor's shelling from behind. That's pretty
Well,
terrible.
and 2 tanks. Not a huge tank count, but he doesn't need a huge tank count. There aren't really enough Roaches.
No.
He's got more on the way, and there's no income behind this, right? For Zan. So
Yeah.
all WarreN has to do is hold.
That is
He
very
actually,
true.
For the first time, has a worker lead.
He might. I mean, this is nuts, but he might hold. I don't know. The army supply gets
I don't know how he
pummeled.
killed these Thors.
No, there was a moment when they were actually about even in supply, and oh no. Okay, WarreN a little bit of salt there, but he unfortunately isn't able to hold. I thought he was gonna pull out a miracle, to be honest, but sometimes the odds are just not in your favor, as we some of our other players were saying before. But yeah, that means Zan. That means Zan will be moving on to. He's on to the money, I think now, right? I'm pretty sure he is. Because Zan.
Yes.